Okay, so this is going to be episode 3 of Rebooted, Revisited, Remastered here on the Twisted Glass Productions podcast. So this is our, like I said, it's our third episode. We're going to be talking about Freddy vs. Jason, um, the most amazing Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees movie that has ever been made, and it was released back in
Yes.
2003. This is the
2003
revisited portion of our podcast.
of our name, yeah.
So of our name for this podcast. So since revamping, we've done rebooted pretty heavily where we watched all 3 of the Godzilla movies,
Yep.
first ones. We watched Last House on the Left,
Yep.
original compared to the more recent reboot. And now we're revisiting
Yes, we
the
are revisiting a movie that we both enjoy.
that we both enjoy from our youth, our youth
Yes.
times.
Mine more
So
so than yours.
yeah, I was 13 when it came out. Shut up.
I was
10.
10. I was 9
So
going on 10.
yeah, so it's an interesting little, I guess, crossover movie.
Yeah.
I
Most
can't hear you.
ambitious
There it goes.
crossover of all time.
Right. I mean, for horror, I guess you would say, with characters specifically. Um, I don't know. Where do we start with this one? Because we're revisiting it from
We are.
then to now.
So let's think
So
about
I guess
this.
so
So
for this one, go ahead.
I don't remember where I was going with it. Go ahead.
So what I find really interesting is that we both had the very same reaction of the pacing being completely different than
Yeah.
what we felt it was 13 years ago, or no, how long ago? 17 years ago
17 years
when
ago,
it
yeah.
when it was first watched. 17 to 16 years ago when it was first watched. So that's one thing. I felt like it moved a lot quicker than I remember everything actually taking.
Yeah, like it to me it felt like we were watching it on like time and a half. You know what I mean?
But like everything was in, I guess you would say, real time.
Yeah, it was like it just felt that way cuz like you said, thinking about the memories of that movie, the pacing was so much slower,
Like
like in a
things
typical horror
happened,
movie.
right, and things happened in different places than I remember them
Yeah.
happening, and things were not as drawn out
Mm.
as we remembered them. There's a
Yeah.
lot of different. The acting was a god. It was a fuck ton worse than I remember. Except for from the dude who played Jason and the dude who, and
Well, homie who
Robert
plays
England.
Jason just walks. There's no
Right. He's just big.
yeah,
He's
he's just a
tall.
big dude. And Robert England being Freddy like he had been for 20 something years at that point, 30 years. Because the first Nightmare on
Yeah,
Elm Street came out in the 70s, right?
I think so. Very into the 70s, early 80s. I could double check.
Yeah, so he'd been
But
Freddy for, yeah, roughly 20 to 30 years already, having that
Nightmare on
character.
Elm Street, 84 was the
84.
first one.
So
Yeah,
20,
so 20 years.
so yeah, a year shy of 20 years being Freddy, like, he is
So
Freddy.
it's
He
pretty.
has that
Yeah,
character.
he is. He is and always will be Freddy. And I mean, yeah, we could do a whole fucking reboot
Yeah.
version of both Friday the 13th, and we
Mm,
could do one for Nightmare on Elm Street. But for this one was a revisited. Um, just kind of rewatching the movie,
yeah.
it a lot of things didn't hold up, and a lot of things did hold up.
Yeah. And
Is the best way that I can put it.
I really liked how in the movie they had the mix of like shitty 2000 CG, but still had the
Yeah,
practical effects of like the older movies still in there,
right. That they
which was
would
really
have with
cool.
those slasher films.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And yeah, it was weird. It was weird rewatching it because like my memory just was bullshit on it apparently.
In the whole aspect, like, of everything. A lot of people looked very familiar.
Yeah,
The By the time they get to the party scene, I thought the party scene was way later in the movie, but it's super hella recent. Like
yeah,
as soon as everything starts,
yep,
almost, and it's literally the first time everybody else sees Jason.
yeah. the
some of the
first time
kills, like you remembered how the kill went whenever
in the
whenever
bed.
Jason in the bed whenever he bends the dude backwards.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite kills in that movie was the fucking.
And then with that kill, I never realized and noticed that his like fucking entrails were going through the bed,
I never noticed that either
and
until
whenever
you
he was
pointed it
getting
out.
stabbed, I was like, hey, they did that. I didn't realize that they did that.
It was it was
The
it was cool like revisiting this movie, and like for those who haven't seen the movie, fucking get with it, figure it out.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
Um,
it's gonna be
you've
this
had ample
podcast
time.
is always gonna be a spoiler heavy podcast, so don't
Yeah,
get mad.
right. Because all the movies that we're watching are quite a few years old. You should have had time to see them,
Yeah,
watch them, peruse them a little bit.
exactly.
Um,
And like with this one, it doesn't necessarily pick up where. So when Jason goes to hell, to backtrack, at the
right.
very end of the movie, Jason's mask is sitting there on the ground,
Presumed dead.
presumed dead, and then Freddy's hand pops out of the ground and grabs it, and you hear Freddy laugh.
Right.
And then X amount of years later, they finally do Freddy versus Jason. And basically, the plot of this one is for those who've seen Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy gets his power from people remembering him and fearing him. So in this movie, the children of Elm Street, who are teenagers, basically, um, they've forgotten him. The town has erased Freddy from all records, all that stuff. So he uses his manipulation to get Jason to go kill for him to stir up, basically to stir the pot, to get people talking, to get his power back. And then
Right.
Freddy finds out he can't control Jason because Jason's just a mindless killing machine and he won't stop.
Right. He's basically a zombie
Yeah. So then,
with one thing in mind.
yeah. So then Freddy's like, I gotta kill this bitch. So then it becomes Freddy fighting Jason because Jason's taking too many of Freddy's kids. Basically,
Right.
is the plot of that movie.
And at the beginning of the movie, they give you a little bit of a background of Jason Voorhees, why
Yeah.
he kills. They give you a little bit of a background of who Freddy Krueger is.
Yep.
Throughout, well, a little later in the movie of who he is, because they start remembering and then his powers start coming back. But at the beginning of the movie, it's more so. I feel like this is more of a sequel to Jason Goes to Hell than
Yeah.
it is of any Nightmare on Elm Street movie. The reason for that is that it took them a decade to finally get the okay to do that crossover movie
Mm-hmm.
and make it. And what's really fun about it is that all of the characters are very very stereotypical 2000s,
Yeah.
like the way that they dress, the way that they talk, the way that they look,
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of stuff. The thing that I there's a lot of things that wouldn't fly
Oh yeah,
today
a lot.
if they were
Some
put in a
words that
horror
were
movie,
used.
right? And just the outright stereotypical portion, like I guess racially stereotypical for
Yeah.
each and every individual person that was in the movie.
Right.
Um,
But then again, when you think about it, that is just like a horror thing. Is
right,
always stereotypes.
right. They've gotten better with it
Unless you're Jordan
over
Peele,
the
and then
right.
like in that babysitter movie when what's his name, the Vine guy.
King Bach,
Yeah, when he's
Batch,
like, the black dude didn't die first. This is a post Jordan Peele horror world, like that kind of
right?
shit.
And it's just so fucking weird because we're in the year 2003 for this movie.
Yeah.
Still, to like in the 2000s, cell phones aren't the regular.
Right, because it makes
So like,
sense.
and it's just it's so weird to think that
Mm.
like back as a teenager, myself as a teenager, it wasn't like another like 3 years after that that cell phones started becoming more and more popular, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, roughly, because 2006 would have been, I would have been, yeah,
13.
2005, 2006, yeah, because that's when I got my first phone, and it was just like a prepaid, never had any minutes on it. Nokia.
Mine was a
Little
little
tiny
LG
brick.
flip phone. Mine
That
was a
was my
little LG flip phone,
that was my second phone.
and it was a red. It was red, and it was about like yay big, fit in your pocket perfectly fine.
Yeah, mine was about that size, but it was silver, not red.
And it was red and black, and I was super happy about it because I had a. I mean, I was 16. I had a job at the
Hmm.
time, so I would be able to get my own minutes. It was prepaid as well because I didn't want to get a contract for at least another year,
Yeah.
and then going on from there. But that's just it's so interesting to just like how quickly shit shifted, like culturally from '03 to '06.
Hmm.
And like you can watch a horror movie like we did. We watched a horror movie that came out in '09,
Yeah.
which is around that same era. And like a horror movie at that time, cell phones were already integrated into everybody's lives.
Yep.
And just a short 6 years prior, no cell phones. So it was like one of the last I feel slasher films that really was able to bank off of that, where people weren't calling the cops right away or jumping to using the internet right
Yeah.
away, unless they had a computer that was sitting right
Hmm.
next to them in the same room. And it wasn't even a laptop, it was more likely just a like a desktop or something of that nature. And that's some of the things
Hmm.
that I also watch for when we revisit and rewatch these movies,
Is the
is
little
like
cultural
how,
things?
yeah, it's like how things changed over the course of time, and how everything is so much different compared to what it is
Yeah.
um today. And with Freddy vs. Jason, there was the like one bit of CG that they used, which was turning um Freddy Krueger into a caterpillar.
Yeah, it was the Freddy Krueger into a caterpillar, and of course the scene where he lights homie's back on fire, and the little things that come out of the floor into his feet were
Yeah,
CG until
yeah,
they went in, and then they were practical.
yeah. And I mean that's some of the times where you can see that there was not the same amount of technology used
Yeah.
that they used in like other movies that came out prior to that, like Jurassic Park
Yeah, and I think
and
this
and shit like
was
that.
also that director's first horror movie too. I think, if I remember right, could be wrong, but I think that was his
That
first
that
horror movie.
that's a pretty damn good job for being a horror movie, doing Freddy vs. Jason and getting the okay to do that. Plus, the soundtrack
Right.
on this goddamn
Soundtrack
movie was fantastic.
is good.
In my opinion, it's all of the music that I grew up with, or that I remember growing up with. So,
Mm.
like, I have it saved here. I
You got a
think I
double dose
added
of
it.
Corey Taylor.
You did. You got one like unreleased, formally released track on that album,
Mm.
Snap, and then you have I have it pulled up here, right here. There we go. You have Snap, and it's a demo, and it's not even a fully like put together song, but it sounds like a fully put together song.
Yeah.
And you also get a Stone Sour song off of their first album, so Inside the Cynic. So that's pretty cool. You got
Mm.
Devil Driver, Sepultura, Typo Negative, Chimera, Seven Dust, um, Hatebreed, Spine Shank, Kill Switch, Engage, and Il Nino. It's a pretty fantastic look at the way that they did like that particular era's music, because again, in just a short few years a lot of that stuff starts to fade away, and people start going elsewhere for the type of music that they listen to.
Yeah.
And it's only really played in this movie during the opening credits and during the end credits, and that's about it.
And a little bit
The
during the
re-
fight. A little bit.
they they didn't play any of the songs, but they did have some pretty heavy metal music playing while they were fighting, which
Yeah.
I thought was really cool. Which is a big difference
Mm.
compared to what they would do now. It would be a little bit different. It wouldn't necessarily be like a specific genre. It would be like ambient music that was
Yeah.
used to set the tone of the way that everything was playing out. And uh, pretty much revisiting this movie was a good nostalgia trip in a in
Yeah.
a in a very good way.
I feel like they did very well of pulling like the best factors from both franchises into the movie.
Right,
You got the good slow methodical pace of Jason when he's doing his first initial kills, that stalking aspect, and then you got Freddy hitting his one-liners and doing all his fucking wacky shit, playing
right.
with his food basically. You got the best of both worlds in this movie.
I feel like Jason had the most kills.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Jason got the most kills.
I don't think
Freddy got one kill.
who did Freddy kill?
The friend,
The friend.
the one
Yeah,
that we got to see, the
we
one
lit
that
him on
took a
fire.
shower and you could lit, well, lit him on fire. But the girl, oh, two. He got two kills.
Two.
The girl, the girl that was a drunk basically in high school.
No, he was going to kill her, and Jason killed her.
Oh, she was okay. She was stabbed by Jason because he stabs the guy
Yeah,
that was trying to rape him. Her.
yeah, yes. Because remember, he was
That's,
going. He was like going in for the kill, and then the blood squirted out of her chest,
and then
and then
she
she
just
vanished, and he was
vanished
like,
out of it.
"Motherfucker!" And that's what
Yeah,
pissed
pretty much.
Freddy off. Yeah, Freddy. Yeah,
Yep.
Freddy got one kill.
Freddy got one whole kill, but got people killed.
Yes, he was the
He
mastermind behind the whole thing. But yeah, him himself got one.
he himself was only strong enough to get one kill.
Yep.
Thought it was pretty funny that he possessed the stoner dude with that caterpillar,
Yeah,
and then at the end he just gets chopped into
in half.
fourths and halves
That was pretty
because of
great.
it.
Yeah, and it's got the homie from Scary Movie in it.
The
Jock.
cop,
Yeah,
yep,
the jock from Scary Movie is a cop in this one. He gets electrocuted,
he dies.
which again is another Jason kill.
And then also there's the Jason gets another kill from the nerd kid
Yeah, he
who
kills the
finally
nerd.
stood up for himself. Kills the nerd. He kills the black chick.
Yeah,
The what's her name? Kelly Rowland, I think is her real name.
I
She
think
was in
so.
Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
And
So let's see. Let's go from the beginning of the movie. So in the beginning of the movie,
he slaughters a bunch of kids at the party.
right. So there's no way
Okay,
to really keep track of that.
right. So at the beginning of the movie, the beginning was
So he
the
kills chick who was swimming.
chick who was swimming, douche nozzle that was in the bed that
Douche
gets
nozzle.
snapped in half.
Him.
Um,
Drunk chick.
drunk chick,
He kills douche knob's friend and his dad.
friend and dad. So that's five already.
That's five. And then we get to the party. He kills rapey guy.
Which causes him to. Well, okay. So yeah. So rapey guy
And then he snaps that one dude's head.
in half, and then kills the fat friend.
Yeah, kills the fat friend. So we're at 8. And then,
And then now
proceeds to kill, I want to say, about 4 more people.
4 or 5 more people on his pursuit to get the blonde chick.
So roughly about 13, 14.
Yeah.
And then he kills the nerd. No, he kills he kills the
nerd.
cop. He kills
Cop. Stoner.
the security guard.
Yeah.
Then the stoner. Then the nerd, and then the black chick. Yeah, he's got about 18 kills. He went 18-1.
He literally like thwacked her so hard that she flew like a rag doll directly up against a tree, and
Just dead.
the hit from the tree caused, this is just my headcanon,
Yeah.
caused her insides to like just split open,
To implode.
and she bled on the inside, and she couldn't breathe or live, like on impact.
Yeah.
Yep, just boom, dead.
That was that. Yeah. Jason kills about 18 people. And Freddy gets 1.
And Freddy gets brought into the real world, fights the shit out of him,
Yeah.
chops off his hands.
He busts some UFC shit on him. He throws some
Fucking-
good knees and some elbows.
throws and stabs him quite a few times with his hand claw,
So many times.
and then blood sprays everywhere, and then eventually it turns into them fighting,
Yeah.
and the two living humans blow up the camp, burn it, put it
Yeah.
on fire.
Which virtually does nothing. It really does
Pretty much.
nothing. And then we get that slow walking heavy thuds. And you see the machete. And you're like, it's Jason. And then the camera pans up. Nope, it's Freddy. With no arm.
It's Jason. It's Jason. Yeah, true.
I like that little thing where it was like, hey, look, Jason's alive. Oh, no, it's Freddy. He's just missing an arm and has the machete. And then Jason.
But at the very
Yeah.
But at the very end, Jason is carrying his head out of the water.
Correct, because Jason pops out the water, stabs Freddy with the claw, and then main chick tells Freddy, "Welcome to my world, bitch," which is Freddy's line, and cuts his fucking head
Hmm.
off.
Yep. And then, oh shit. And then they fall in the water.
Yep. And I still, like, even still thinking about it, I still don't know if at that close to that final scene when like she's staring at Jason in the lake, I still can't tell if Jason like nods at her or if it's just the
Or if the
water
water,
moving his head. Because it kind of looked like he was like, "Good job," and then just
he was like,
fucking sank.
you guys don't deserve to die because you did not do anything necessarily wrong to me. And he brainwashed me.
Yeah,
Fucking Freddy Krueger is the original gaslighter.
for real.
Made you believe that everything was going to be okay, but it wasn't. And then he
Yeah.
kills you at the end.
And then also in this movie, you get a good look at like Jason as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, his alien King Tut head.
Yep. His deformity, which they do point out in the original Friday the 13th.
Right.
Because in the original Friday the 13th, he was not an adult and he wasn't the one that was doing all the killings. It was
No,
the mom who
it
was
was the
doing all the
mom.
killings. So, like, in the beginning of the movie, they do a little bit of that
Mm.
um, background and, like, origin of Jason Voorhees and how she's like, you are designed not to, you will not die. Like, basically,
You
vengeance
can't
will always keep,
die.
yeah, pretty much. You can't die. The, the hate will keep you alive, basically. And I thought that was really
Mm-hmm.
cool that they made him look really similar to the Friday the 13th version of, like, the original Friday the 13th version of
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees, where he jumped out of the water and pulled the last camp counselor down into the water and drowned her to death, which I thought was really cool.
So let me look something up real quick. Came out in 2003, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
What are you checking?
so the original actress for Jason's mom died in 2015, but they
Okay.
did not use her for Freddy versus Jason.
They didn't get her for Freddy vs. Jason?
No, she was in the first two, and that was it. First two Friday the 13th.
But I heard a rumor that they used her voice for the reboot for the Friday the 13th movie when they use her voice.
Mm. As far as her filmography, she's not credited for the Friday the 13th reboot.
Right.
Uh, yeah, that's about it. The last movie she was in 2007, which was Bell Witch the movie.
Have no idea what the fuck that is, but okay.
No idea. But there's a documentary on her too called Betsy Palmer Scream Queen Legend.
Interesting.
That's pretty cool. She was born in 1926.
Okay.
So she was old
So
as
she,
shit when she died.
yep, not young
Well,
at
88. She
all.
was 88 when she died. But yeah, like I said, it took the best things from both franchises into this one movie. And they still kept with the horror trope of the main character, the main female, being this kind of ditzy, not really know what's going on fucking character.
I feel like they made her a little bit smarter at least. They still made her a virgin.
Right, they still made her a virgin, and they still, but like they still kept that trope of her being ditzy, but she did get smarter towards the end. But for the
Right.
majority of the movie, she was just like, I'm so confused about what's going on.
Yeah, because she started having the dreams of the creepy
Yeah,
man with the burned face and the hat.
yep, and the hat.
But we don't ever say his name. But they did. They that fucking shit where they were talking about how they quarantined him.
Yeah,
They basically quarantined all the people, and I was like, ooh, pandemic.
right, and like it brings like a good look into like kind of how far people will go to protect their kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they were drugging the kids
They
straight
were. They
up.
were making sure they didn't have any more dreams, so that Freddy didn't come back, and then have them forget
Exactly,
who he
and
was.
took everyone who knew of Freddy and put them in a mental asylum.
and just spread them away from each other.
Yeah, to keep them away from the main the main town and all the secrecy, especially with the cops and everything like that.
The library removing all the different like
All the ones that
crimes that
died.
were, yeah, all the crimes or all the things that happened because of Freddy.
Yeah, and it was crazy. It's crazy, like how on point and on the same page every adult was in this movie. Because usually in horror, the adults are like, "Eh, man, whatever."
They're like, you crazy kids and your lore.
Supernatural stuff doesn't exist.
And then it's like this. It's always in the supernatural movies where there's the parents who just don't give a shit about the supernatural,
Yeah,
and then like crazy ass supernatural shit happens, and
yeah,
then they're just like, nope, still an atheist. It's like what?
dude. And what was also funny to me is how quickly the cop was like, "All right, cool, supernatural things are existing." Just because the stoner was like, "You gotta think outside your fucking box, man." And he's like, "Okay, you're right. Jason is definitely the same Jason."
Yep. It's like that's not what we mean, but okay.
It was pretty cool. But like, yeah, like the pacing of the movie again, super weird looking. Watching it again, it just moved super super quick.
Yeah, it was a pretty short movie after rewatching it.
Yeah, and things just happen just one right after the other. It doesn't give you time to like appreciate what's happening.
Still, a lot of the shit that I remember just being so pivotal for that movie, or at least for me, are like
Yeah.
brain burning
See, but a couple of those
memories.
things were because we're men who like women.
Yeah, right,
So young us, we're probably like, let's mentally slow this down as we watch it.
right. And then just I remember just a whole bunch of shit happening a lot slower. Like the weird scene where the blonde chick is on in the dreamscape of Jason
Yeah.
for Camp Crystal Lake, and they show him as a kid and whatnot being bullied and then pushed into the water
Mm.
or into the lake itself, and then she gets to the fucking building, and Freddy's basically banging some chick, and then you find out she's dead, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like I
Fuck shit.
remember that scene as well being longer.
Like that whole just portion being a lot longer and going, oh no.
Yeah, that's unsettling. And then rewatching it, it was like maybe 20 seconds, maybe.
Yeah,
And we're like, what the
if
fuck?
that. And that's it. But
Yeah, and just Freddy being Freddy. And yeah, it's crazy that he's such a pivotal. It's crazy to me that he's such a pivotal movie icon and everybody loves him.
yeah,
Because when you think about it, he is a vile piece of shit.
yeah, very much so.
he
But
was a
he's charming.
he was a child murderer and diddler.
Yeah. They were less emphasizing on the diddler part for the original
Yeah,
version of Freddy. But as the new remakes and stuff like that happened, they were more apparent about it
yeah. Well, there
that
was
he
only
did.
like one remake.
There was the remake, but there was also the New Nightmare,
Yeah, but that one was
which was
weird
which was their sequel reboot
thing,
of itself.
homage
Yeah,
kind of
which
thing.
was by Wes Craven. Wes
Yeah,
Craven did it.
yeah. Wes Craven came back to the franchise to do that one, and it's crazy. And then, yeah, Wes Craven's a good horror actor, not actor, director, slasher.
A writer.
He's a good
Screen-
slasher dude. Cause like the
Yeah,
Scream
he's good at
movies,
that.
pretty good. Like they're not really scary, but they're
Mm-mm.
good like slasher movies.
But when I was a kid, though, I will admit the original Scream, the first one,
Mm,
without watching it, I was actually like originally terrified of that movie.
right.
And then by the time I was old enough for like Scream 3 and 4 or 3 to come out, years and years before 4 came out, I remember 3 coming out and going, "What the fuck? This isn't scary." And
Yeah.
then rewatching 1 and 2 and going, "These aren't scary at all."
Mm,
So like that's kind of not until my teens was I really into like horror movies. So like right when this movie came out was one of the movies that I would watch and go, "Okay, this isn't that scary."
yeah. Like for me, I've always kind of liked horror, And like the only movie that terrified me when I was a kid was the first Jeepers Creepers, and I saw the first one after I saw the second one.
Okay.
For some reason, the first one just freaked me the fuck out.
And I
Can't
never
explain
got to
why.
watch. I don't know. I think it's just one of those things where like horror movies back then as a kid, I would always have like a super overactive imagination.
Mm,
So it would always cause me to have those nightmares and freak the fuck out and like wake up in a panic and shit. So I never watched them because of that reason.
mm,
And then when I got older, I kind of just embraced it and then got used to that's just kind of what it is.
yeah,
They're not that bad. They're
really
not that
not.
scary.
Not that scary at all. Some, as an adult, have scared me, have made me jump, and I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, when the first Insidious came out, I hadn't seen it in theaters. We got it on DVD, watched it with my mom when she lived up in Porter, and then it freaked me the fuck out. Like it freaked me out enough that I like fast walked back into my grandparents' house because it was like after high school and all that shit, so I didn't get really
Mhm.
that kind of shit. And I left them. I remember I left the movie in my console. I got to the door and I was like, "Fuck, I forgot the movie. I'm not going back." And I just went inside. It's like, "Fuck that,
Think one of the more recent movies
fuck
that kind of made me
that Freddy Krueger wannabe looking Darth Maul bitch."
was I think The Conjuring had some cool shit. The
Yeah,
Conjuring, The Conjuring 1 and 2. I will say that with the utmost most like honesty is that that didn't make any fucking sense. But with the most honesty is that
with the
like
most
Conjuring 1 and
honesty.
2 is that like those two movies scared me a little bit more only because of the very simple fact of watching and looking up all of the real shit that that movie was based off of,
Yeah.
and then more so for the second movie than it was for the first movie.
Mm.
So it was very interesting.
Yeah, like because those movies are like based on things that happened,
Right,
like real like paranormal cases and shit like that.
right.
And fuck you, people who don't believe it exists. They're out there. They will
And
spiritually grape you.
I think grape. I think that's why
Grape.
those movies were really interesting
Mm.
to me, at least, is because those who watched them that don't believe it, they were just bored the whole time. But those who do believe that stuff, they were just like, that's really creepy and really kind of unsettling
Yeah.
for what had happened. And even if there is evidence, they're still not going to believe it. But what I like about slasher movies, yes, granted, there are serial killers that go out and stab people 36 times each fucking victim,
Mm.
but with horror movies like Freddy Krueger or like Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason Voorhees, and like the Friday the 13th movies, and Ghostface with Scream and stuff like that, is just a fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Leatherface. You get the like most animated version of those things to
Mm.
make it not seem as scary, to
Yeah.
give it a little bit more of a entertainment factor instead of just all blood and gore.
Yeah.
So
I feel like to me, slasher movies to me are a little bit more unsettling in theory.
right.
Because like you said, like some of them are based on actual serial killers and things like that. Like things like that happen in like
Right.
day to day life. Like there are people out there like that. And I think
Right.
that's what makes it more unsettling because it's more rooted in reality. And then they just
Mhm.
go, let's just make this like Freddy. He's Dream Demon, whatever. Jason, Undead
Mhm.
Zombie Guy. Michael Myers, Unstoppable Goddamn Killing Machine. But Michael Myers is still a person.
Right. Michael Myers is like the only one out of all of those that is still a human being living in the flesh doing his stuff.
Yeah, and for some goddamn reason, just doesn't react to things like a human would, like get
Right.
shot in the head.
Right. And that's the crazy shit. Maybe he has fucking armor for all we know between
maybe,
him and the mask.
maybe he is
But
the
it's
original Mandalorian.
right. He has the Mandalorian armor underneath. They unmask him at the end of this next one that comes out next year.
Yeah.
They're gonna unmask him for the final fucking like Halloween saga, and they're gonna unmask him, and you're gonna see just that shiny Mandalorian armor, and then it kicks you right back into Disney Plus,
Yeah.
and you get to watch the last
This is the way.
episode of The Mandalorian. That
You
would be
heard it.
intense.
You heard it here first, folks. We are calling it. That's the plot of the next Halloween movie. Have we ever seen like adult Michael Myers' face?
No,
No.
almost in the Rob Zombie one.
Yeah, but his hair was always in the way.
Right, that's what I said. Almost.
Yeah.
And then he was always wearing that paper mask because he was like, I don't know how old they made him, like in his 30s, 20s or 30s,
20s or 30s. Yeah.
when he was getting out of that psych ward and going from that to the actual like hospital prison thing
Mm.
for killing his family. Whenever he finds out that his sister is still alive
Yeah.
and he's going on the chase to go find her to kill her, like that's his only thing that he wants to do. He doesn't want to kill anybody else, but he kills everybody else along the way because they're trying to stop him.
They're just in his way.
Yep. Funniest part about the second Halloween that was out for more recent as a comparison is that he waffle stomps like a security guard in the security booth because he wasn't letting him pass. Basically, curb stomps him with his fucking
I don't
boot.
think I've seen the second Rob Zombie one.
Yeah.
No,
I saw both of them in theaters.
I didn't see the second one. I saw the first one.
Man, horror movies are
Yeah.
going to be the main thing for this particular podcast, but except for next episode, we're going to be watching Animaniacs. We're going to be a little more lighthearted.
Animaniacs.
I'm excited. I'm
Same.
kind of excited to watch the new HD rebooted fucking
Steven
it's
Spielberg produced.
fucking everything that is
Yeah.
our fucking podcast. It's rebooted, revisited, and remastered.
For
So
real.
like
It's all
everything.
the things.
It's all the things. So I'm looking forward to it because
Yakko, wacko, and dot.
there's been some like leaked parts of it making fun of fucking our current president,
That's amazing.
and making fun of other political. They've always made fun of political figures. They made fun of Clinton. They made fun of Bush.
Not
They made
everybody,
fun of like everybody, and it's no holds barred with them, and that's what I kind of liked about it. Whenever I was younger, I may not have understood a lot of the jokes as a kid, but as you get older and you rewatch it, you're like, ooh, that's
Ooh.
fucking dark.
Yeah. Or like that's pretty adult.
Yeah, like they made it for both, and it's a good balance. And I think this one's gonna be the same exact thing, and they have that free reign to do what they need to do because it's gonna be on Hulu.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I'm excited. They're gonna get 2 seasons on Hulu. That's gonna come out over the course of I think the next 2 years, and then they're gonna be moved to I believe HBO. That's just my speculation
Right.
for that.
Which would be cool.
Back to Freddy vs. Jason. There's really not much that we can say about it more. I feel it
Not
had
really. It was good.
the perfect. It was good. It's a good revisit. It's fun to watch. I think it has rewatchability. It's something that I feel like if you have like an hour and a half of time to kill, pop it in, watch it,
Mhm.
and chill. Just have fun with it. Don't think of it too in depth, and don't take anything that they did seriously.
Yeah.
Because it's a movie from the early 2000s, and the CG wasn't that great even at that time,
Mhm.
and it was it was a different time. It was a different
Yeah.
era.
Also, I would like to ask if one of our lovely viewers can do this because I don't want to do it. Do research and comment down below all of like the main slasher body counts. Like, give us Freddy, Jason's, Michael's, Leatherface, and Ghostface. Give us all their body counts.
And like text, and then fucking you said Leatherface. Never mind, my
I
bad.
did.
Who else are we missing? Michael Myers.
Oh,
Yeah, you
Michael
said
Myers
that
too. Yeah, all of them. Give us the body count of how many people they've killed throughout the history of their tenure.
Because I've seen that before, but it'd be interesting to see. I think Jason's the winner.
Probably.
I think Jason is the winner. Not saying it just because like I'm biased because Jason's my favorite, but like
I think it'll go. I think it'll go Jason, Michael, Freddy, Leatherface, and then Ghostface.
Yeah, maybe. I think Michael Myers is down near the bottom though,
Mm,
more towards the middle. But I also
possibly.
think Leatherface is more towards the top because he's based off of Ed Gein
Facts. But I'm talking about like body counts we see in movie.
in movies.
Yeah.
Movie. Okay,
Like don't
that's very
count because if it was like body counts like off movie, then the overall winner would be the goddamn creeper from Cheapest Creepers,
right.
just in the basement scene.
Let's see if this will answer. Ooh, that's crazy.
What's up?
So Jason Voorhees has killed approximately 146 people
Damn.
in just 12 films. That's an average of 12.2 slaughters a film.
All right.
Freddy Krueger has killed approximately 35 people
Hmm.
in 8 films, just an average of 4.4 massacres a film. By a country mile, doesn't have a set vendetta, so just kills anyone he sees. A killing machine. So that's what. Okay. Ooh, there's someone already did this.
Damn it. Give me the numbers, John.
Let's fine. This thing is stupid. Okay. Let's do this. So let's see if they'll just give me a list. So here we go. Most kills: Jason Voorhees with 146, Michael Myers with 94,
Damn.
Freddy Krueger with 35, and winner with Jason Voorhees with a total of that 140 46 out of the main slasher
Yeah.
films from the original
So that's
slasher films.
exactly what I said. I said it'd be Jason, Michael, Freddy, and then it would
Yeah,
be I think it would be Leatherface and
right.
then Ghostface.
But apparently, oh wait, let's see.
Apparently.
Yeah, Jason Voorhees is the most prestigious masked serial killer slash slasher film killer. But I'm interested to see the numbers for the other ones. So Ghostface, how many has he killed?
Yeah.
Or they killed?
That one's gonna be
How
a little
many
weird because
have
each one is a different Ghostface.
it is? But it's still Ghostface.
Yeah.
Leatherface would be cool to know. So they didn't have Leatherface in that one, I don't think. And what was the other one?
That would be it.
It's another slasher film.
That'd be like really all the slashers, to be honest.
Yeah, those two. So down in the comments, tell us who wins out of those two.
Ghostface and Leatherface.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do the research that we're too lazy to do
find
ourselves.
find out who those are. I just googled it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ruin your fun.
It's all good. It's all good, man. We saved it.
We saved it. We got it. But it's interesting because Jason Voorhees is apparently in this thing that they did was like the most what do they call him? Like prestigious
Mm.
fake serial killer. Made the most money. Um, had the best story out of all of them. Um, basically, most times killed out of all of them was Jason Voorhees, but he was also the least killed was Michael Myers. Michael Myers has never been killed, so
Facts.
that's an interesting.
Facts.
He's never been killed, so that's cool.
Which is some bullshit because he should have been killed.
Yeah, he should have been died a lot of times.
Yeah. But I mean, Jason took a rocket launcher to the face.
Jason was also a supernatural being by that point.
Yeah. He took a rocket launcher to the face and then became a fucking, like, alien embryo just scurrying around.
And then he took over someone else's body and killed a whole police station.
Yeah. He's intense. But yeah, I think that's about it for that, man.
Yeah, I'm good with that. You're good with that.
I am good as well, John. Go ahead and shove us off, man. What do you want to say?
I guess follow, like, subscribe, do all that shit. Leave your comments about Michael Myers and Ghostface down in the comments. Or who is your favorite? who is your favorite fake serial killer, and what is your favorite horror movie down in the comments as well.
Yes. And also,
This is gonna,
give us those body counts.
yeah, all the body counts. If you find more, if you do more research than the one article that I found, and you find out that all of those people have more kills than what we found, um, tell us. Put your research down on the bottom. Show us how you found. Do your homework. Find it. Put it down there. Show your work.
Show your work.
Show your work.
Long division.
Not the short division weird math that they're doing, where you have to find it, show how to fucking add 26 and 4 the long way.
Facts.
But I guess that's it.
All right,
Thank you for tuning in.
All right, everybody. Be good. And, hail Satan and all that good stuff.